Hello and welcome to Godfather Minute. This is the podcast where we talk about the Godfather 1 minute at a time. I'm not going to do the whole podcast like that.
Who is that supposed to be? Is that Luca Brasi?
That was Luca Brasi.
Oh, okay.
From the Godfather.
All right, cool. That'd be great if he hosted a podcast.
Oh my God.
The character.
Yeah.
What would he talk about?
Pre-war. Scotch.
Oh, that's right. He would just be a Scotch themed podcast.
We should come up with a podcast for every character. That would be a good bonus.
That's a great idea. Let me. And before we get into the beginning of the show, one idea is he would have a partner when he's podcasting, and and the other guy would be the one kind of leading in, asking him questions. Luca Brasi just there as the specialist.
It should be a lady.
Lady, yeah, even better.
Yeah,
and almost all of the questions he answers with, not bad.
What's your favorite Michael Jackson album? Not bad.
So which one? Funny.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So
okay, what we need you to do then, what I need you to do is infiltrate a podcast, Alex, and pretend to be Luca Brasi, right? Find out everything you can about them podcasters.
Well, we're not here to talk about Luca Brasi because he sleeps with the fishes right now. Mm-hmm. We're here to talk about minute 98. 98 of The Godfather.
Alex, e minuto numero 98.
98.
Yeah, this one's a little harder when you do the eights. Yeah, 98.
98. Why does it change so much with age?
I think it's a diphthong. There's certain words that combine.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, you heard me. You're going to be wearing a diphthong pretty soon.
Yes, Senator, a whole lot of diphthongs. So, minuto numero
98.
98.
Yeah.
All right, 98.
More or less, that's it.
Minute 98. Here's what happens. It starts off with Fredo looking in sadly on Pop, who also looks on sadly as he realized, he's in his recovery bed, and he just found out that Mikey is in Sicily. And then the scene shifts to the beautiful hills of Sicily, where Don Tommasino is scolding Mikey for leaving the compound for his own safety.
Yeah, Don Tommasino comes driving up.
Yeah, but then he says,
he's with his two
doing?
bodyguards, and then Don Tommasino comes driving up.
Yeah. So do you think to say about the Fredo part before we get to Sicily?
Well, I do want to point out that that's the image that you captured, and the iconic image for Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse nightclub.
Yeah, figure it's him looking serious.
Yeah. Is it called the chat room anymore?
I don't think so.
No.
I guess it's just called a group.
A group? Okay.
Yeah.
Boring.
You think chat room was better?
Yeah, it's a little more exciting.
I guess it sounds so dated now as you think of like early AOL kind of, like child molesters just roaming there looking for, that's the what's that show? Dateline. Dateline? No, To Catch a Predator. That's
To Catch a Predator. Were those chat rooms?
They always seem like they were like, they're always over the internet. I guess how else anyway.
So Fredo is the one who goes back up to see Pop.
Mm-hmm. Because Fredo is the heart of the three sons. Fredo is he's the emotional one. So of course he checks in. And Pop is still awake in this. I thought he was just looking at him as he slept, but
he's still awake.
He's still.
I think Fredo also can empathize most with Don Corleone because he too was hospitalized after the shooting.
It's true.
Remember?
Yeah, he was in shock. He had a nervous shakedown.
I do think it's cool how the scene transitions to Sicily. It shows Don Corleone in bed, and it segues. There's a fade out, fade in. I don't know what you call it. It's actually not a fade out. It completely transitioned to Sicily. It's
Yeah, fades into Sicily.
Fades into Sicily, and it's almost as if he is thinking of Sicily.
That's just what I wrote. Like it almost seems like it could be a flashback, and I guess at first you're not sure because it can. Until you see Mikey, you don't know what. Maybe the whole Sicily thing is all taking place, and the Don is just imagining what Mikey's doing in Sicily. He's all like, I bet he's marrying a local girl. Something like this.
Are you going to pull a Saint Elsewhere on us? This whole thing is imagined by Fredo Corleone. Fredo Corleone's actually a 4-year-old kid.
Here's if you watch the movie, you can watch it and after the shooting, there's a theory that Fredo was shot because he never interacts with another character in the rest of the movie. So he's a ghost to the whole rest of the movie.
Oh, that he's not even alive.
Yeah, that he's just a ghost witnessing all this
interesting.
Stuff. Yeah. I don't think that's really true.
I don't think that works, but
yeah, because he talks to Mo Green, talks to Mikey and all that. Although that would be funny if we watched it and it turned out that you could actually take him out of the scene and it would still work.
Even later when he is in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's why the people don't leave the room right away. He goes, scram, get out of here. And everyone's just stands around. Still hanging around. And then when Mikey says, hey, I love you, but don't ever take sides against the family against the family ever. He could be like talking to, he could be talking to Tom, or maybe he's talking to Mo Green.
Or just everyone.
Yeah,
I think he's looking through Fredo talking to like Al Neri or something.
And that's why
because Al Neri was betting on the don't pass line. So he's like never thinks. Yeah, that's what it's called, right? The don't pass line.
Yeah, when you bet against the shooter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why Mikey gets really bent out of shape that Mo beat him up because now he's dead. He's like, you're straightening my brother up. He's banging with waitresses. He's like speaking ill of the dead.
Yeah. I saw a YouTube video analyzing The Godfather, and one of the things they said is that the whole Sicily sequence can be seen as like, okay, so Mikey was an American before, and now that he's committing to his life, now it's almost like, okay, now you have to learn to be a Sicilian, and he's basically it's like training camp for like so that and in a weird way, it's almost like the life that Don never got to have. As a Sicilian guy living in the countryside because he had to leave when he was a kid, so it's kind of like he's living out the life that Don Vito would have had, marrying a local girl, like and doing all this stuff. That
did he marry a local girl? No,
who?
Mikey. No,
save it. Okay. Not yet.
That's really, I never thought of it that way. That he's living Don Corleone's life, and now Don Corleone is thinking, he's imagining Mikey in Sicily. Yeah, I'm assuming he knows he's in Sicily.
I thought he said.
I don't think Tom said it. He just said it was Mikey who killed Sollozzo and McCluskey.
But I thought he said he was under protection. We're working to get him back. And
okay, I don't recall if he actually told the Don. Maybe the Don.
I think he started to, and then the Don was just like, "Don't."
Yeah, bring me. If the Don could have talked at that point, he would have said, bring me a wartime consigliere. Look what I got.
Let me look the script here.
I had Jenko, Santino had you, and now I have you. Look what I got again.
I got a second-hand terrible consigliere.
Oh, these hand-me-down consiglieres.
All right, I'm looking at the script to see if... Oh, you're right. So Hagen just says it was Michael who killed Sollozzo, but we're starting to work to bring him back now. He doesn't tell them that he's...
Maybe he assumes he's in Sicily.
Or, yeah.
Well, Puzo writes a lot about Mikey in Sicily, but we'll get there. We'll get there, Alex.
Yeah, we have a lot of that's. Yeah. I was like, how much Sicily stuff do we do the first minute? We're like,
I do have a bit from the book I do want to talk about after we talk about the events of this minute.
Okay.
So it's kind of background information about Sicily and Mikey's experience there. Stuff that's in the book but not in the movie. Do you notice that when the car pulls up and Don Tommasino is about to get out, Fabrizio, one of the two bodyguards, opens the door, and off camera, below the camera, he does something to the car.
I think he's setting up Don Tommasino's like wheelchair.
Oh, really?
Because Don Tommasino
He's not in a wheelchair, though, when he gets out of the car. He's standing.
Well, they're like lifting him up. First he's sitting in the chair, and then I think he just has like weak legs. Like he can, I think he's being either putting crutches on his legs or something. I think that's what they're doing down there, I think.
Okay, because they don't show it.
Yeah.
And you never see it in the scene. And once they do this thing, whatever they're doing, I can't tell, then he still has a hard time getting out of the car. They don't actually help him out of the car. He's just kind of pulling himself out of that shotgun seat.
Yeah.
I don't mean to completely dissect this little detail.
That's what we're here for.
It's really, I guess.
You're not going to do it now.
We are doing this minute by minute, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, I guess we can watch the video again.
Yeah, let's pause the podcast. We have never done this before.
Yeah.
Let's pause the podcast and we'll come right back.
Okay. Are you going to put some incidental music in here or something?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll be right back.
Let's play the cannoli count or the causeway countdown.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
It happens in minute 119, and this is minute 98, so
it's only like
21 minutes.
500 minutes?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the causeway countdown while we rewatch minute 98. Pop Pachinko, you're stuck with Hagen.
Alonso might not even be in the car, Sonny.
But he's right to steal his heart, lots of money he'll be making.
A lot of money in that white car. Lousy, home.
Made a big mistake, should have kept your mouth shut.
Sonny was hot for my deal. You can't talk business with him.
And Carlo made a mess, now you gotta clean it up.
Now clean it up!
Pop's in a coma, Fredo's losing his mind. Where the hell is Luca? You are out of time. Tick tock, we're counting down every day.
What can I do?
To get to Carlo, gotta make it through the causeway.
Sonny on the causeway.
Listen to me, you better listen to Clemenza's wife.
Don't forget the cannoli.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay the final toll with your life. All right, we're back. This is minute 98.
We re-examined the evidence.
Oh, I thought we were starting from the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, okay. Minuto numero 98.
Yeah. So what do you think, Alex?
Inconclusive.
Yeah.
We got into a discussion about whether or not Don Tommasino... I thought I remember that Don Tommasino was in a wheelchair for the rest of the film, and that we learn in Godfather 2 that he sustained that injury, that he got shot while he was doing that, the thing with young Vito Corleone.
Oh, and Godfather 2.
In Godfather 2, but it's inconclusive from this thing.
Well, thinking ahead, yeah, because just for the listeners, Fabrizio, Michael's bodyguard, definitely does something at the base of the car.
Yeah.
But we don't see what it is. And then Don Tommasino does stand up a little bit of... He doesn't get help standing up, but he's leaning against the door. Later, Don Tommasino, when he delivers the news to Mikey that Santino was killed,
Yeah.
Don Tommasino's standing again. Yeah, because he puts his arm on his shoulder.
Thinking of GF3, he's maybe in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just like a little. You know what? We'll look into it.
We'll investigate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Moving on.
So at that moment, Don Tommasino is upset at Michael. Miguel, that's how you say it in Sicilian. Miguel. And he says, "Why are you going so far from the house? It's dangerous." Alex, have you ever had to warn anyone about a location?
I can't think of anything.
No, I mean you lived in the mean streets of New York City.
But
anytime anyone, I mean, you lived in deep Brooklyn, deep Queens.
I can't. I guess the thing is, everyone I knew also, most of the people I interacted with also knew, like they lived in New York, so it's not like they didn't know like that there are dangerous neighborhoods. I don't remember anything. Why do you?
I'm wondering.
You have anything specific? Stay away from the old. Because I thought maybe in your capacity, maybe as an educator, you might have been like, "Hey kids, don't go near that elevator shaft. It's the elevator is stuck or whatever."
Yeah, there are definitely times where things like, "Oh, don't walk down this hallway; it's wet," like because it was mopped.
Yeah,
like it's a little different from hey, don't stray far from the house because there are people trying to kill you. I guess in
that sense, I said, "Oh, don't go in that room." Like you do not want to go in there.
Have you ever been warned, maybe while traveling? Someone says, "Oh, don't go to this town," or I think I've been warned traveling in parts of Latin America.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
you did a lot of
don't
traveling
be out at that
off
time.
the beaten trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than being told to stay out of the ladies' room, I can't think of any other times where I was.
You had to be warned to stay out of the ladies' room?
Well, it's warned several times.
Oh. What, was it being mopped at the time? Is that why they told you?
Yeah.
Mopped at the time?
He was being mopped at the time.
He also was warned not to go into the restrooms at IBM and IT&T.
Though it was his right to do so.
Could have my own washroom, Senator.
I think Don Tommasino looks a lot like James Gandolfini in this minute. He has
you're
that
right.
kind of same like vibe to him.
Yeah.
And it makes me imagine, because I feel like there were other times on The Sopranos where people came from Italy to live to be with The Sopranos. So it would be kind of like that. Like if someone from Italy had to come hide in America, and Tony Soprano was obligated to.
Well, this is the 1940s. Is it possible this is Tony Soprano's great uncle?
Wow.
Or
we have to wait for that.
grandfather?
We'll have to wait for that Sopranos prequel movie that they're talking about.
They're coming up with a Sopranos prequel movie?
Well, they're talking about doing it, focusing on like Tony Soprano's father's generation of like the rise of So I guess then maybe
interesting.
we'h find out.
Yeah.
That'd be great if they picked like some random character and they said, "Oh, we're gonna say that's Tony Soprano."
Yeah.
That's why I changed my name to Michael Corleone.
Yeah, it would be cool if I don't think Paramount would give them the rights, but if they subtly connected the Sopranos world to the Godfather world.
Like in universe.
Yeah.
Because
they
they do establish that they did show them watching The Godfather. They know about The Godfather as a movie.
Yeah.
So
that'd be great. That would definitely bend things a little bit.
You don't think that Michael Corleone's related to our Michael Corleone, do you?
Yeah. It's odd. We had a guy a couple generations ago killed a police captain. They said it had never been done.
They might. So they did not film in Corleone, Sicily. Because Corleone, the city, the actual town of Corleone, was deemed not picturesque enough, and kind of ironically, it is a town that is still the home of a lot of gangsters and big Sicilian mobsters.
Wow.
It's a place known for like some of them were born in in Corleone, so it's still a
Interesting
hotbed of action.
When I get to the parts in the book, Puzo does write about how the town of Corleone has the highest murder rate, at least according to Puzo at that time.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, of all towns in the world.
While you're there, you should go to the Sidma Museum, CIDMA. I don't know. Didn't write down what it stands for, but it is the anti-mafia museum where they're pointing out all the bad things that the mafia has done as a kind of way of saying like de-glamorize it and stuff. So
I don't think anyone goes there.
It has to be like one of the only like a tourist thing though.
Is it in Corleone?
Yeah, it's in
town?
Corleone. So I'm sure
that's
they rely on
great.
people coming to or maybe that's what they're trying to stop that from having like mafia tourism. They're trying to say like it's not funny, guys.
So can you also go to places in the town of Corleone that promote mafiaism?
I'm assuming so.
So this is the one.
I'm assuming. Well,
government
first of all, I'm
sponsored-
sure you can go get every like. My parents went to Corleone, and I got just got this T-shirt, and take the gun, leave the Corleone.
Oh yeah,
leave the Corleone. So anyway, we should eventually on the last episode we're going to do our trip to Sicily. We should record these episodes in Sicily.
That was a great idea.
We could stop recording now and pause it and then resume.
We can feed two birds with one stone, and we could kill someone for some political strategic reason and then flee to Sicily.
We might,
right?
Well,
I should scratch that, right?
Yeah,
when I
cut
edit
that
it,
part
we
out.
We don't want that.
Here's what I'm going to say. Maybe just how about all the Sicilian episodes? You just have like a you put sounds in the background that sound like we're recording like at an Italian villa. Like breeze, you hear like maybe some cows walking on the horizon or birds, chirping.
Do you want like real GF dialogue in the background, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying
Just
that's
sound effects.
Yeah, well, you could have people
Okay.
talking, but I don't want you to use actual,
Okay.
like sound.
real
I don't want it to just be
dialogue,
like, us talking over the Godfather.
Yeah, we also don't want to have to deal with Paramount.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Maybe we could have like Mama.
Just yeah, you can't copyright the phrase "mama." It's like a ghost. Mama.
Oh, the ghost of Freedom Corleone. Ba, 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 ba.
But they did film in a couple of other towns in Sicily. I'm sure I'm mangling these pronunciations, but Savoca, Savoca, Forza Diagro, Francavilla. And
You're saying them like questioning if I've been there. You're like,
no,
Francavilla?
I was hoping that you might go, oh no, it's pronounced this.
Oh, I don't know Italian except for numbers.
And Nunziata.
Oh, okay.
So if that's the place we'll have to go on our, I'm gonna bet you 10 Sanka, 10 cups of Sanka that if you go to Sicily, and specifically there's a tour you can take that will take you to all the locations. This is where the wedding was. This is where the car blew up. This is where all that stuff.
Oh wow!
Like
So they truly filmed all of that in Sicily.
Yeah.
All of it.
yeah.
Excellent.
In
That's
fact,
great. I didn't know that.
in GF3, they went back to a lot of the same locations. So like the places that you saw, like young, like I think that the scene where where they're going like, hey, we want to kill Vito Andolini.
Oh yeah.
I think they have that same place in GF3.
Oh, that's
that same.
great.
So it's like the grandfather, the father when he was a kid, and then there's the son there when he's an old man. So anyway,
Yeah, I didn't totally understand that at first because you and I last night just watched Once Upon a Time in the West, which took place in America, but it was filmed in Italy.
In Italy,
parts of
that's right.
Spain too.
Yeah.
And so my brain was there, I think.
Yeah,
But it really wasn't Sicily. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the minute ends with Don Tommasino saying that he has word from Santino.
Yeah.
And it would be so great if Michael says, "Yeah, what did he say?" And he says, "He told me to ask you, did you go out walking in the Sicilian countryside to get stupid?"
Tell him no.
He's just passing along with it. I guess he would say it without Sonny's inflection.
Yeah. He would go, did you go to Sicily to get stupid? What do you want me to tell him?
What does this mean? Like Sonny would know that he was walking around.
Yeah.
And so he told Don Tommasino to tell him.
Hey, next time you see him walking around, ask him if he's walking around and get stupid. Well, that's all I have for minute 98.
Oh, I got a bunch of stuff from the book.
Okay.
You ready to get blown away with a little history?
Sure.
You sure?
Yeah, let me take a drink of water.
Okay. I can't hear you. Ready for some history?
Yes.
All right. Chapter 23, page 322. Puzo writes, after 5 months of exile in Sicily, Michael Corleone came finally to understand his father's character and his destiny. He came to understand men like Luca Brasi, the ruthless capo regime Clemenza, his mother's resignation and acceptance of her role. For in Sicily, he saw what they would have been if they had chosen not to struggle against their fate. Yeah, he understood why the Don always said, "A man has only one destiny." He came to understand the contempt for authority and legal government, the hatred for any man who broke omerta, the law of silence. Interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So like you were saying before, Mikey had to go to Sicily to experience this to maybe start to accept his destiny.
Yeah.
Do you think if he had not gone to Sicily, if he had gone, let's just say, to Venezuela,
Yeah.
would he have come back and would he have come back and still been head of the family? And then B, would he have been as good not having had the Sicilian experience?
The first one, he would still take over the family, but he would not be as good. Although one could argue that he's not good because it winds up costing.
Yeah,
if he hadn't gone to Sicily, maybe he wouldn't have been as like hard as hardcore about that whole Sicilian thing.
Yeah, and as hard-hearted.
Yeah.
Right? Just to show you I'm not hard-hearted, I'm gonna kill my brother Fredo.
Yeah. So,
although if he had been shuttled to Venezuela for a year or so, I think he would have ruled a little differently afterward. I mean, they would have been taking siestas. He would have been like, Luca Prasi, ¿por qué me están molestando? Everyone would be like, we don't understand this guy. He's running the family speaking Spanish to us.
I wish I didn't have a Venezuelan consigliere.
Yeah. He turns into like the classic Latin dictator.
Oh, yeah. I always confuse Venezuela and Argentina.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because they're on the other, they're both on the same side of that strip, right?
Yeah, yeah. No. That's Chile on the other side. Of the
Chile.
strip.
That's what I'm on. So there's three little countries I get confused.
Think about it this way: in Venezuela, it's hot, and in Chile, it's cold
because
it's chilly.
Because it's in the south.
No, because it's chilly there.
No, I understand that. Why is that gonna help me remember that that's the one on the skinny one on the south?
Because it's chilly. Never mind. Forget. We'll talk about it in the bonus content.
All right, is Venezuela more north?
Yeah, actually, Venezuela is
so it will be
as far north as you can.
So it is warmer.
I mean, it depends what time of year, because like Argentina and Chile are in the south, and so it's going to be winter there in a month.
Right, but since Venezuela is closer to the equator, it's going to be warmer than Chile.
Yeah, generally it's warmer in Venezuela.
So that's the way to remember it. Chile is farther. It's closer to Antarctica.
Yeah.
So it's chillier.
That is a good way.
And then Venezuela that's harder.
Can you create something for Argentina too?
Yeah, that's the hard. Well, Argentina I always remember because the Falkland Islands are right off that. So that's the way I always remember that.
Oh, so you already know how to remember that one?
Yeah.
How about Bolivia?
Bolivia, I can't remember any of the other. I could probably do Ecuador. Maybe Colombia.
You know how you remember where Ecuador is? Ecuador means the equator.
Oh, yeah.
Spanish, so it goes right through there. That's how you remember that one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Plus, I was there.
You remember how to remember Colombia? Last one, Colombia. This is a great.
I know
one.
it's a big one, right?
Yeah, it's a real big one.
Yeah, so I think that's.
But you know where it is?
It's in the north.
It is in the north. You know how you remember that?
How?
It used to be connected to Panama.
Oh, that's right.
Panama and Colombia were the country of Colombia, and then the U.S. pretty much sold Panama.
Yeah.
Created an uprising just to be able to build a canal.
That is a good way to remember it.
Okay.
All right.
And that's one to
It's one to grow on.
One to grow. All right, back to Puzo writing. So a few characters. So Don Tommasino is the capo mafioso of this province. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's in his 50s. Michael is staying at Don Tommasino's uncle's house, who is a bachelor uncle in his 70s. His name is Dr. Taza.
Dr. Taza.
Yeah. Taza. We know he's going to end or see his life end.
I wish in the movie they had all the Sicilians played by the same actors from... who were in America, but just had them be pretending that they were like their cousins who looked exactly like them.
That's great.
And that way you could have Taza.
He's like, I am Dr. Taza. It is true. I am flashy and a good businessman, a good doctor. So I
talked to Buzzy.
Woo! Yeah. Wait, are you saying Dr. Taza talked to Buzzy?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay. So, do you know how he got his doctorate? He's one of the local doctors.
How did he get his doctorate?
He pretty much bought it because everything in Sicily at this time, according to Puzo, can just be purchased.
Well, why would you see? That's the thing. If I'm a crime lord and I would need a doctor,
you wouldn't go to this guy.
Okay.
No, he is technically a doctor, and I guess he works as a doctor in the town. But Mikey doesn't. Like Mikey realizes he's a quack. He's a quack. He doesn't know anything. He says even that he reads all this stuff, that Dr. Taza reads all this medical stuff and just doesn't understand it.
So he doesn't cure. So the people in the family don't go to him for.
Puzo doesn't write. I don't think he writes about that.
Yeah.
Then I'm assuming no, because he's not actually a good doctor.
Oh,
in the next minute, we're going to talk about. Some medical information, a little bit more about Dr. Taza, because that more applies to next.
Did he make the best 5 doctors in Sicily list?
Yeah. And let's see, he's a local doctor. So there's a little bit more. Let's see. Mikey is staying at the residence of Dr. Taza in this province controlled by the mafia. And the town of Corleone is in that province. We already talked about how it has the highest murder rate of any place in the world. So Don Tommasino has an interesting role. Are you ready to talk about Don Tommasino?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
because we don't see him very much.
Right.
So I feel like this is the opportunity to talk about.
Well,
his
do you have
background.
a lot of stuff for next week's?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, got plenty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been kind of prepping Sicily because we knew it was slower minutes.
All right.
So Don Tommasino was the gabellotto for a huge estate belonging to one of Sicily's most noble families. A gabellotto is a sort of overseer to the estates of the rich, also guaranteed that the poor would not try to claim land not being cultivated, would not try to encroach in any way on the estate by poaching or trying to farm it as squatters. In short, the gabellotto was a mafioso who, for a certain sum of money, protected the real estate of the rich from all claims made on it by the poor, legal or illegal. When any poor peasant tried to get land by cultivating it, the gabellotto frightened them away with threats of bodily harm or death. It was that simple.
So
Interesting.
That's weird. So is it like a protection racket?
I think so. Well, my impression is there are these really wealthy landowners.
Yeah.
And then the mafia aren't necessarily those people.
Yeah.
And so the gabellotto works for these wealthier landowners, kind of protecting their wealth.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know if they're forcing them. Maybe they are forcing them to pay. Maybe it is a protections racket.
Well, one of the things that is that Sicily at this point was more or less being run by the mafia.
Yeah.
So it seems weird that the richest people wouldn't be the mafia people.
Later, let's see.
Or that the mafia would be kowtowing to rich people. That seems like against the whole, like,
Yeah.
not having to listen to any big shots kind of ethos.
Yeah, interesting. So Puzo does write a little bit about it later. So every night, Don Tommasino, Dr. Tassa, and Michael would sit around, drink wine, and talk. And Dr. Tassa liked talking about the history of Sicily. And he writes...
Or maybe he was a doctor of history.
Yeah, maybe. Puzo writes, justice had never been forthcoming from the authorities, and so the people had always gone to the Robin Hood Mafia, and to some extent the Mafia still fulfilled this role. People turned to their local capo mafioso for help in every emergency. He was their social worker, their district captain, ready with a basket of food and a job, their protector. This is what's interesting. But what Dr. Tassa did not add, what Michael learned on his own in the months that followed, was that the Mafia in Sicily had become the illegal arm of the rich, and even the auxiliary police of the legal and political structure. It had become a degenerate capitalist structure, anti-communist, anti-liberal, placing its own taxes on every form of business endeavor, no matter how small. Michael Corleone understood for the first time why men like his father chose to become thieves and murderers rather than members of the legal society. The poverty and fear and degradation were too awful to be acceptable to any man of spirit, and in America, some emigrating Sicilians had assumed there would be an equally cruel authority. So it sounds like the rich took over the mafia. They kind of became the same thing.
Right. They work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Let's see some other points. Don Tommasino also controlled water rights in the area. There's a lot of money in them in that H2O.
They must be able to draw water from the well.
He wouldn't let any new dams be built because that would ruin the business, because they basically sold water and made a lot of money off it. Don Tommasino is even more traditional than Don Corleone.
I mean, he lives in Sicily, I guess, so that would make sense.
He was an old-fashioned mafia chief and would have nothing to do with dope traffic or prostitution.
Wow.
Yeah, he even considers that a harmful vice. In this, Don Tommasino was at odds with the new breed of mafia leaders, springing up in big cities like Palermo. New men who, influenced by American gangsters deported to Italy, had no such scruples. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I think it's a way for Puzo to kind of tip the scales a little bit so that we still respect these guys for being, they don't do, no drugs. They're good guys. They don't, whereas they're killers and, so.
Yeah. One more part from the book.
But not near the schools.
One other part from the book, page 324, Puzo writes that the word mafia, do you know what the origin of the word mafia, Alex?
What does it mean, like our thing?
It originally meant a place of refuge, according to Puzo in the book.
Yeah.
Then it became the name for the secret organization that sprang up to fight against the rulers who had crushed the country and its people for centuries. Sicily was a land that had been more cruelly raped than any other in history. The Inquisition had tortured rich and poor alike.
Oh, I didn't expect the Inquisition.
What's that?
I didn't expect the Inquisition.
Yeah, that's a surprise. The land-owning barons and the princes of the Catholic Church exercised absolute power over the shepherds and farmers. The police were the instruments of their power, and so identify with them that to be called a policeman is the foulest insult one Sicilian can hurl at another.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. McCluskey, not welcome.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Mikey was so like, I want to kill her.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No one ever trusted
Kill that son of a bitch, McCluskey.
Yeah. They worked with police. They respected the police, but they never trusted the police. And one final part of the book I wanted to share, Alex. Puzo writes, in the countryside of Sicily, a stranger asking questions to the nearest town will not even receive the courtesy of an answer.
Whoa.
Do you know why?
Because they're obviously a stranger and an outsider.
Omerta. And the greatest crime any member of Mafia would commit would be to tell the police the name of the man who had just shot him or done him any kind of injury. Omerta became the religion of the people. Interesting, yeah. So, like, no one trusts anyone.
Yeah.
It was a strict code of silence.
Our friend and one-time guest Tony Consiglio is of Sicilian descent.
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
Well, I'm just saying one of his things always, whenever someone would ask for directions, he would always give them wrong directions. I'm wondering if that's just some kind of cultural memory where he's just like, never tell anyone the
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you would send them in the total opposite direction of where they were going to be going.
We'll have to ask him if he knows about that Sicilian practice and whether he is doing that with awareness.
I'm going to guess that he did it because his parents, his father did it.
Oh.
Or whether his father was doing it because it was just,
That's
a Sicilian
crazy.
thing or not. We'll have to find out.
That's great. We'll have to ask him.
So, well, all right. Anything else for minute 98?
I think we just got to rate it.
We got to rate it. Ooh, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right. I got my score. I'm locked in.
I got my score.
Okay. You ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3. I said 3 just because it's the first Sicily. You get to see little Don Tommasino. We do get Fredo and Brando in it.
Oh, damn, you're right.
So it's kind of the Sicily minutes.
Yeah.
It's still the freshest. So anyway,
Yeah. Oh, and there's a reference to Santino.
reference to Santino.
Oh, you're right.
And
You're right.
Mikey's in it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right.
you're gonna kick it off.
I think you did convince me. I didn't really think it through.
Yeah.
3. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a non-speaking Brando and a non-speaking Fredo.
Yes.
So they just each bump it up quarter star. But then Santino reference, that's an 1/8 of the star.
All right then. So that will wrap up minute 98. We'll be back next week with minute 99.
And well, yeah, stick around for the bonus content. We got a few ideas.
Yeah.
One is we may talk about our experience watching Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yes.
And the other idea was to riff on mixing up dialogue, mashing dialogue.
Yeah.
Right?
Subtly changing them.
Give us an example, Alex.
Well, like you said, Fredo Corleone says hello and got GF2 instead of Michael
and what
Corleone.
impact would that have?
What would that?
Funny. Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe we'll do that too.
Yeah, and we'll do our usual headlines and political cartoons, so stick around.
So if you want to hear that, you can go to godfatherminute.com/support. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. And until then, za 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 za, za 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 za. Hey, 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 Dr. Zaza.